Hey guys, I'm LQ. This is the LQ Review, back with another Doom Patrol episode review. So, this show has been fantastic, and this episode just brought that up a notch. This episode was great. This episode was called Cult Patrol. So, this is episode 4, Cult Patrol. Basically, quick synopsis. After their run in with, I think it was Dr. Von Fuke or Dr. Von Fook or something like that in the last episode, the Doom Patrol takes a quick respite only to run into a magician named Kipling who informs them that, what is it called? The Cult of the Unwritten Book is trying to get their hands on the Unwritten Book, which turns out to be a boy who has the book basically being written on his body via tattoo. And the Doom Patrol gets involved with Kipling, the magician, to try to rescue the boy. Well, Kipling had no interest in rescuing the boy. Kipling wanted to kill the boy. But the Doom Patrol tries to rescue the boy from not just the cult, but from Kipling as well. Before the cult can kill the boy and summon the Decreator. So let's talk about the good, let's talk about the bad, and then let's talk about how whether this is a good episode or not. Which I've already kind of said, this is a good episode. Doom Patrol is firing on all cylinders. If this is the kind of content that the DC Universe streaming service is going to give us, it's a win. Period. Titans was good. Doom Patrol is fantastic. Alright, so let's talk about the good. Again, it's been my good in every review I've done so far. Robot Man, Cliff, he's been great. Not quite as much to do in this episode, but at the time when Mother Archon is kind of deconstructing their reality, we get a real sense of how Cliff views himself and how he's afraid other people view him. And in this episode, we also get a great sense of his relationship with Crazy Jane. He views her as a daughter. He is viewing Crazy Jane as a daughter, and a surrogate daughter for his own daughter. And Cliff is just such a layered character, and he's just my favorite character in the show. Robot Man, fantastic. Brendan Fraser's killing it. Brendan Fraser's great. Crazy Jane. Yeah, Crazy Jane is really grown on me this episode. If you remember, in some of my previous reviews, I haven't really cared for the performance or the character. But her affection towards Cliff is very intriguing, as well as we're getting more into her alternate identities, including Hammerhead, which Hammerhead was very prevalent in this episode and was very entertaining and very well done. Crazy Jane, this episode, killed it, made me a fan. I was a fan of the actress, I was a fan of the character, I was a fan of everything that Crazy Jane did in this episode. Just good, solid stuff. Another character that I haven't been a fan of this portrayal, and really hit me good this episode, was Cyborg, Vic Stone. I haven't been a fan of the acting that the actors has done in this character, and I haven't been that big of a fan of the design. A lot of the design to me has looked cheap, it's looked kind of cosplay, it's looked kind of made for TV. But I gotta tell you, this episode was fantastic. Now, this episode we saw Cyborg get to jump into some of the action. He had a nice fight scene at the end. We saw the plasma cannon, right? His arm transformed into the plasma cannon, and it was great. So we need to see more of this Cyborg. This Cyborg who's calling out Rita for not being a hero. This Cyborg who's trying to lead this team. Maybe it's his spot, maybe it's not, but he's doing a good job trying to assert himself to do what's right. I liked this version of the character today. I liked it a lot. Now, I really liked Cyborg in Justice League. It was one of the bright spots of that movie for me. So I've been making a comparison, and maybe that's been a flawed part on my end to compare the two, because they are so different. But man, I liked Cyborg this episode. I really liked Kipling. I hope Kipling becomes a full-time member of the Doom Patrol. I don't think he will, but I hope he does. He reminded me very much of Constantine. Just the way he dressed, the smoking, the magic. This was another version of Constantine. I'm not familiar of Kipling's comic book character. I assume that he is a comic book character, but I've never read any comics that Kipling has been in. I've read a lot of comics that Constantine has been in, and this version of Kipling reminds me very much of Constantine, for better or worse. I really liked it, and the fact that his initial reaction was to kill the boy. So the cult couldn't kill the boy. It was very Constantine-ish. The craziness of this show, man, the craziness. So there's this part in this movie where an oracle summons a glowing horse head to craziness, and they are just embracing the craziness of the Doom Patrol. So the craziness, the out there in it. I mean, this show is nuts, and they're just embracing all of it, and I love it. The cult was really well done. The scenes where the mother killed the father, that was shocking to me. I was like, what? And then she dresses him up in the outfit and puts him on the throne, and everything about this cult, the what were they? The enforcers look kind of reptilian. I mean, everything about this cult was just bonkers, and it was great. Mother Archon. I loved the voice that she spoke in there at the end when she was on the throne. I love that the way that she tried to break down all reality as a construct of perception, and then she was able to kind of break down how Cliff views himself, how Crazy Jane views herself, and how they view each other. It was definitely kind of psychological warfare that the cult was doing on these members of the Doom Patrol. Man, I just dug it. I dug it. It was. If you aren't watching Doom Patrol, watch it. It's only $7.99 a month for a DC Universe, and it's worth it. And finally, Rita got to use her powers, and she controlled her powers. She used her powers to lengthen her arm to stop Kipling from killing the boy. Rita, she's been one of my favorite characters, and I love the fact that she's slowly transitioning into that hero role. And she took her first major step in this episode with using her powers in the way that she did. All right, the bad. I've been a fan of Negative Man. I'm getting bored of him, though. I'm getting bored of Negative Man. There's too much exposition in his character for too little payoff. So I really need some more. I need some more understanding of the Negative Man character, what the power sets are, what the relationship is, and just how the whole character duality works. The D-Creator, again, we'll probably see more of the D-Creator, and my mind could be changed in the next episode, but the whole eye at the end, there's embracing the bonkerness of it, and then there's just, I don't know. They're just looking at it and saying, I don't know about that. That's all I've really got about this episode that I had problems with, though. This is great. Doom Patrol is great. You gotta check it out. This is totally smiley face emoji. I love it. Love it. I can't talk enough good things about Doom Patrol, and this episode was the best one yet. And I'd be remiss to mention Animal, Vegetable, Mineral Man. One of my viewers pointed out that the last episode, when I was in my car doing this on the fly, I forgot to talk about Animal, Mineral, Vegetable Man. He was only in that brief scene there at the very end, and I know that he's a classic character from the comics. Special effects were okay. This was just kind of an introduction. So I assume we're going to see more of him. So I'm just anxious to see more of him. That's all, really. I mean, I have no opinion on the character, other than I'm just anxious to see more of him. See more of where Animal, Mineral, Vegetable Man goes in this series, and whether or not he'll go anywhere. Maybe he was just a one-in as a joke, but I doubt it. I'm pretty sure we'll see him again. So I'm LQ. This is the LQ Review with my review of Doom Patrol Episode 4, Cult Patrol. Thank you for joining me here, where we talk about all the nerdy, geeky stuff that we love to talk about. And until next time, Thank you for being here on the LQ Review.